Well,
Slow poke.
what's up, folks? Welcome back to a little slow. Welcome back to another episode of Charm City Heavyweight Podcast, brought to you by Great Eighth Memorabilia in Parkville, Maryland. I'm the host, Matt Trigger. With me, as always, is my co-host, Josh Merrill. Josh, what's going on, buddy?
What's up, Matt? Coming live from the man cave. We're trying a different camera angle tonight. I'm liking it so far. How do you like it?
It's beautiful.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay,
Continue.
before we bring our guests in, before we talk about some Ravens and Browns, I just wanted to bring up a ridiculous thing that was on the news today. I know we're not going to talk about it much, but they're trying to have a swimming event in the Baltimore Harbor next year. Josh, I know that's absolutely disgusting, and it shouldn't be done. So the amount of dead bodies and vehicles in there, nah.
I don't care how much they've been trying to clean it. Fuck that.
Anyway, so this is Ravens and Browns week again. This is the last meeting in 2023, barring a playoff appearance from the Cleveland Browns. Let's bring in our guests. We got Keith and Ed. They joined us the last time that the Cleveland Browns game was on the schedule. Fellas, what is going on?
Nothing much. Looking for a little payback.
I ran my mouth. A lot last time, and I just want to say this. I have not learned my lesson. I'm going to continue to run my mouth. Go Browns. We're going to kick the you-know-what out of you rat birds in the Charm City this Sunday. Deshaun Watson's back, and hey, I don't know how good he's going to be, but he's back, and he's better than DTR, and we're bringing it.
Well, a lot of courage out of you guys. I appreciate it. And before we get started, Keith, I want to thank you again for having me on your show earlier tonight.
No doubt.
Heavyweight podcast. It was always a pleasure to get on to the mic and talk some sports with you, especially the Ravens and the Browns. I talked about it earlier, Keith. We're going to kind of regurgitate a little bit. The entire AFC North is above 500 right now. Everybody has at least five. Everybody has at least 5 wins on their on the win-loss column. And if the season ended today, every team in the AFC North would be in the playoffs in some form or fashion. So, since we last saw each other, the Ravens have lost 1 game, and we are currently on a 4-game win streak. We have put up over 30 points 3 out of the last 4 games. Last week, we put up almost 40, and Lamar Jackson did not touch the end zone through the air or on the ground. So,
that's scary.
5-3. Deshaun Watson is back in Cleveland as a starting quarterback after a mystery injury. Fellas, how's the season looking for you guys so far, and what are your prospects going into this weekend?
Well, I'm going to say that, Keith and I talked about it. Check out Locked On Sports, the pregame and the postgame every Sunday. But you look at the Browns and through 8 games, they're 5-3. Now, you looked at the schedule going into the season. I didn't think the 49ers was going to be a victory. Obviously, I thought the Ravens at home was going to be a victory. There's just different things that throughout the schedule. But we have to be happy at 5-3, considering all things considered. We had PJ Walker, XFL star, come in and win us a couple games. So, the injuries, it's the NFL, and I get that. But when you're talking about major injuries to your franchise quarterback, it's the same thing you guys experienced the last couple of years with Lamar Jackson when he goes out. It's funny, Keith and I talked about this, but, the Bengals have had success the last couple of years. But now that Lamar's healthy, they're not on top of the division. It's the Baltimore Ravens on top of the division, kind of, and that's just how the NFL is. If you have that franchise elite quarterback, you should reign supreme in your division or be, and that's what the AFC North is. And now Pittsburgh's a little bit of an anomaly because they got Kenny Pickett, and they're still hanging around at 5-3 and still would be in the playoff picture. But usually you have to have that franchise quarterback. You guys have that in Baltimore, and hopefully Deshaun Watson continues to stay healthy and even gets healthier, and we can compete that way. But last time we played you guys, we had DTR. It was kind of a debacle, a whole organizational kind of crumble on the Browns. A couple hours before the game, having a rookie quarterback come in to play a team like the Baltimore Ravens, you're going to get your butt kicked. And that's what happened in Cleveland. And kudos to you guys for kicking our butts. I mean, that's what happens. And I'll say one thing about the Baltimore Ravens, what scares me about you guys, when you guys get a lead, you guys do not put it in cruise control. You guys continue to put your foot on the gas. You did it against the Lions. You did it. I mean, that's what you guys do. And so the Browns will have to keep it close early on, or I'm kind of scared that it could get out of hand. So we'll see.
Yeah, actually, for us, 5-3 is right where I predicted they would be. 5-3, actually. Now, the one loss I was off was I figured we would have won the first Baltimore game at home. Things would have been normal because you expect Nick Chubb to be playing, Conklin to be playing, and Deshaun to be playing. But right now, I'm glad where we're at. We're right where I expected them to be at 5-3. Now, I will say this is a huge game if the Browns still have hopes of capturing the AFC North. Yeah. Now, if they lose Sunday, the AFC North is a done deal. But after that, the schedule lightens up considerably for the Browns, because the Browns will probably be favored 6 out of the next 8 games after this one.
This is definitely the biggest challenge you have ahead. Like we talked about that earlier on your show, Keith, that you guys have a favorable stretch, and with us, it's quite the opposite. We have the Rams, we have the 49ers, we have the Dolphins, we have the Jaguars, and we have the Steelers and the Bengals, towards the end of the year. Obviously not in that order, but it's a little bit of a tough stretch for us. But winning this game puts us in good position, with short rest against the Cincinnati Bengals, and that's going to be tough. We got 2 games in 5 days. I hate Thursday football.
Ooh, y'all got a Thursday night against Cincinnati?
Yes, we play Thursday night against Cincinnati. That's a very short turnaround. This is always a physical game between our teams. Josh is our resident NFL All-22. So, Josh, I'm gonna let you lead off the segment. What did you see with the Browns the last few weeks? Coming in playing Baltimore. What's your takeaway with what you've seen on film?
You mean offense or defense?
Either one, buddy.
Offense, look, they're like 3rd in the league in rushing, but they're 29th in passing. I believe if the Ravens shut the run game down, they have no chance to win. It's going to be a blowout. When defense, look, I was just arguing with a lot of Browns fans after the last game on Twitter, and they're like, it was our 10th string quarterback, bro. I was like, yeah, but Lamar chopped up the starting defense. So what's your excuse there, buddy? I expect Lamar to do the same thing he's been doing the last few weeks. I think he's going to have another big game. Their defense is stout. I mean, on film, and they can get at their quarterback. Myles Garrett's having a great season. They're like using different ways to use him, things I've never seen before. Their secondary is awesome. I mean, they have an extremely good defense, but it's a division game, man. You never know what can happen. I just want to go off of what we saw from the last Ravens-Browns game, and I do believe Lamar's going to chop them up again.
Yeah, and it's crazy, guys. And Keith, we talked about this on your show earlier, and Lamar Jackson led the offense to 37 points and did not get in the end zone at all. He didn't have a rushing touchdown. He had no passing touchdowns. The lone passing touchdown came by way of Tyler Huntley in the 4th quarter to Odell Beckham. And it was one of those situations where we just dominated the game on the ground and on defense. We suffocated Seattle's offense. And that was an offense that had a healthy DK Metcalf and a healthy Tyler Lockett and a healthy Kenneth Walker. Like, these guys, we just suffocated them, and there was really nothing they could do. And after the 3rd or 4th drive, you just kind of knew the game was in hand. it's crazy because we did the same thing to the Detroit Lions. We come out, we punch teams in the mouth, and I was telling Keith earlier, Ed, we have another running back in the stable now that burst onto the scene. He was named the FedEx Rookie of the Week for the AFC last week. Second generation Raven, Keaton Mitchell, had 9 carries for 138 yards and a touchdown. He is
fast little dude, man. He's fast as shit.
He was the fastest. He was he was the fastest player in college football last year, and he ran an unofficial.
He should have been drafted,
40.
man. He got robbed. He got because his size. He's small. The knock on him coming out was that he's not going to be able to get through the line of scrimmage, get past linebackers, but he didn't have no issues with that last week.
Do you guys run him up the middle, or how do you guys use him? Compliment to Gus Edwards, or how do you guys?
He's the compliment. We ran Gus Edwards for 2.5 quarters. We ran in between the tackles. We were running a lot of trap, a lot of zone read, where he was just between the tackles, just pounding the football up the middle, and he scored 6 touchdowns the last 3 games.
We ran a sweep with him too because he's fast enough to get around the edge.
Yeah,
he's fast.
We wore the defense down with Gus, and then we had Justice Hill come in as a change of pace, and then we let Keaton Mitchell go in the middle of the third quarter, where he just started breaking off. He had a 60-yard run. He had another 20-yard run. I think his touchdown was what, Josh, 45 yards?
I believe so.
Yeah, so
he went off, man.
And it also
I got to give all credit to Matt. Matt's loved this kid since the preseason. I was never really. I thought he was kind of too small, to be honest. I thought Matt was a little crazy for thinking that. But after that game, I was like, oh shit, I gotta apologize to Matt because that dude was Matt was right, maybe. It was one game. No, it was one game. We got to see him do a little bit. He's got to stay healthy.
No, I hear you. But he looked good in preseason, guys. He looked good in preseason, but he was running against 2s and 3s.
Right.
And he was running with the second and third O lines for most of those games. But he got banged up. We put him on the IR with the designation of return, and then we got him activated at practice, and he was a little banged up with his shoulder and with his hamstring, but he locked in. He came in. At that point, Seattle was worn down. We had imposed our will. We're up 4 touchdowns at that point, and it's difficult because we were pushing them off the ball so far that Tyler Linderbaum, our center was on his 60-yard run. Our center made a block at the line of scrimmage, at the second level, and 60 yards downfield at the third level. So when you have your 300-pound center as a locomotive in front of you, and you're untouched for the first 45 of the 60-yard run, I mean, he should have scored, but he just ran. He just got tired because at that point, that was over 100 yards rushing for him in under 10 carries. He's the change of pace that we've been needing. He's dangerous in the pass game. He was fantastic catching the ball in the backfield in college. He's going to be a good complement, especially as we get towards the month where running the football is going to be of utmost importance. It's also taking another load off of Lamar Jackson because Lamar no longer has to. Well, he should not have to rely on his legs. Josh and I cringe every time this dude has.
I don't want to see him run that off.
A designed run. We want to see the RPO kind of just dissipate.
Go away. Yeah, okay. We don't need it anymore.
We don't need it. And every time that
we don't run it a lot now, so now every time we do it, we fumble it because we're not used to doing it anymore.
Correct.
Go ahead and do it this Sunday.
Yeah, keep bring it.
So, kind of sticking with our offense, with your guys' defense. Obviously,
hold on, man. I want to ask them a question real quick. I'm sorry, just real quick, guys. Todd Monken here. We like him. What was wrong with him in Cleveland? What was the knock on him? What didn't you guys like? Or did you guys like him?
Actually, what it was with Todd Monken, he was the offensive coordinator when Freddie Kitchens was the coach. And Freddie Kitchens was the coach and the / play caller. So Monken was just offensive coordinator.
He wasn't, Also, too, in 2019, Nick Chubb had I call it Red Right 88 when he had the 88-yard run against you guys, and we put it on you guys
Oh,
pretty
so
hard.
he didn't call the plays. He didn't call the plays.
He didn't call the plays.
No, he didn't call the plays.
We felt he was underutilized. And another thing, too, some of his routes when it came to passing, we had Baker Mayfield. So, I always said this with Baker, Monken need to do more dink and dunking with Baker, and it called for these long routes, and it took forever to develop and everything. And Baker just wasn't the kind of quarterback, I don't think, for that system. And then, like I said, he wasn't calling the plays anyway. So that's really. But you saw Monken. Didn't he go down to Georgia and was their offensive coordinator? So I have nothing bad to say. It seems like everywhere he goes besides Cleveland, he's been very successful. And I think your offense has definitely progressed from what it has been. So
absolutely.
And
I can't
also
say nothing bad about him.
That year when Monken was with Cleveland, Odell Beckham gained over 1,000 yards receiving. Jarvis Landry had over 1,000 yards receiving.
It wasn't as bad as what a lot of Clevelanders.
And Nick Chubb had 1,500 yards rushing, and Kareem Hunt had 800 yards rushing.
Yeah.
Wow.
But our quarterback liked to throw the ball to the other team a lot too.
Yeah,
so.
and our defense sucked too.
Yeah.
And now it's the complete opposite.
Oh, your guys' defense is. You guys, I've been saying it for years. You could see over the last few years your guys' defense just getting better and better. And then you guys kept adding a good free agent every effing year, it seemed like.
It's still weak up the middle, and that's why when you talk about this new guy that you're talking about, and you're saying rushing him to the end and everything, go ahead, please. Anybody but up the middle. We are still soft up the middle, and I think that's what still scares me about what you guys do. And you run it up the middle, soften it up, and then, like I said, you have that little scat back in the third and fourth quarter, run and get those big gashes on us. That's what kind of scares me about what you guys can do, and especially Lamar. Lamar is so good when it comes to throwing down the middle of the field, and then if you're running it down the middle, it's the middle of the field is just our danger zone. The Browns have never been able in the last couple of years to shore up that middle of the field, and we get burned every week by it usually.
Lamar's completion percentage over the middle is I don't know. I don't want to say anything because I don't remember it 100%, but it's high.
It's I think it's 102%.
It's that's his hot spot. He is deadly accurate over the middle.
Yeah, he is.
And this is go, Keith. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was going to say, I look at it like this. If the Browns can take away the run and force Lamar to be Dan Marino, I'll take my chances.
But here's where the chances might
that
not
is
be
how you
as,
beat him, though,
as
he gets frustrated.
It's how you beat him, but the thing is, that's how you beat him in years past. He's highly efficient this year in the pass game. It seems like every week, and I'll give this credit to Monken, guys.
He calls a lot of audibles too now, fellas. He changes a lot of stuff.
He lets Lamar change things at the line. We're getting out of the huddle with 15, 16 seconds instead of 6.
So that makes a big difference. Yeah.
Lamar has a chance. Lamar has a chance to
with Roman.
He has a chance to see what he's doing. Another thing, guys, is every week we seem to use a different player as somewhat of a decoy. So, for a couple weeks, OBJ was the guy that we would, send in motion, or we would kind of throw to him early, and then
last week it was Flowers.
Last week, Zay Flowers had probably his worst game as a professional last week, and it wasn't because of any drops. He just didn't touch the ball a whole lot. But we have so many different pass catchers now that are actively involved in this offense. If you want to shut down the run game, that's all fine and dandy. But like we talked about earlier, Keith, you got to find an answer for Andrews. You got to find an answer for
that's
Zay.
Really the one that concerns me.
Rashad Bateman has come on. You got to still account for, Zay Flowers. You got to account for Devin Duvernay, who's been getting more time on offense lately. Then you have Isaiah Likely, who's been getting more involved in the offense the last couple of weeks, to where he's a chain moving tight end, just like Andrews. So he's not as good in open space as Andrews, but he knows where the first down marker is. So, like we talked about earlier, Keith, you guys have JOK as the answer to your Lamar Jackson problem. If you put JOK to spy on Lamar Jackson, now who's going to be guarding Andrews down the field? Because we talked about it earlier. You guys have a good secondary. You guys have a really good secondary. And if our offensive line does their job the way they've been doing their job the last 3-4 games, you're going to have to cover Likely, Andrews, Zay, OBJ, and Bateman. 5 pass catchers are on the field a good portion of the time.
Hmm.
So you really then you got to pick your poison because then if you start having JOK spy Lamar, the middle of the field becomes open. If you have JOK go to Andrews, now you have nobody covering Lamar's running lanes if he breaks out of the pocket, and everything underneath becomes available if we send Andrews up the seam like we seem to do 75 to 80% of the time. So it's a different dynamic. This offense is clicking in week 9 and you're looking at it through the lens of the last time we saw each other. And that's where I wanted to kind of show you guys there's a little bit of a difference because when you guys got us in week 3 or
week
4,
3.
It was week 3. So you had us in week 3 where we were still figuring out our identity. They've figured out their identity.
Well, actually, week 4. You're right. It was week 4.
It was week 4. Yeah.
So we've figured out our identity in the last month, and we're not a one-dimensional offense.
But here's what I think about
or pass.
I always say this about the NFL, and these defensive coordinators that say, "Oh, I need to stop the run. I need to stop the best." You know what you need to do? You need to put pressure on the quarterback without blitzing, because that's what the Browns need to do. If they can get to Lamar or put pressure on him or early downs, first and second down, maybe get a sack, a tackle for loss, make it so on third down we know you have to throw the ball and this or that. That's the key to the NFL. It's not, "Oh, I'm going to stop the run." Yeah, everything is predicated on what the down and distance is, and if you can get to the quarterback without blitzing on first and second down, and you can dictate what the down and distance is going to be on third down, you have a better chance of getting off the field. And the Browns were very successful the first couple of weeks because they could get off the field on third downs. And then when we played you guys, we just couldn't get off the damn field. And then you throw a DTR involved, a rookie quarterback that threw 3 interceptions, should have had 6 or 7.
Yeah, that dude had no business in an NFL game. I'm sorry.
And that way, that 28 to whatever 3 score wasn't as indicative of how bad or I should say how it didn't have to be as bad as it was. Now, that's why I think this game is going to be a lot closer because, I think the Browns will be able to, get some pressure, but also too, even if they don't, hopefully Deshaun Watson can sustain some drives, unlike DTR, not turn the ball over. We have to play a clean game. It's as simple as that. We turn the ball over, we're done. We're done. As simple as that.
You do have to play a clean game. And one thing that Keith brought up earlier is that Deshaun Watson's struggling throwing the ball intermediate in the 15 to 20 yard range. And
we have not seen the Deshaun Watson in Cleveland that we saw in Houston. Not yet.
In Houston.
No, we have not.
I mean, and these numbers are terrible.
And the last time he was in Houston and he came to Baltimore, we smoked
and
him.
then he beat us last year with the Browns, though, and that was pissed, man.
I mean, you got to give a little, take a little, I guess. But it's one of those situations where a clean game does have to be had. And Keith alluded to it earlier. Your offensive line is severely banged up. You don't know if Wills is going to play, or Wills isn't playing. You don't know.
No, he's not. He's out. He's
out. Number 1 defense over here, guys. Number 1 defense in the NFL. Number 2 in sacks.
And we might be down to our 5th offensive tackle.
Right.
Yeah, they getting a lot of sacks.
And
Von Jones is questionable.
Yeah, I saw that.
We talked about it earlier. Jadeveon Clowney is having a career year here in terms of just overall production. This is the most well-rounded he's been. Now, I'm a sucker for names, so I paid attention to, Clowney. I liked him out of college and all that, but his pressure rate is near 50%. He's a stout run defender. Another veteran we signed off the couch in week 3 or 4, Kyle Van Noy. He already has a handful of sacks. He's another, shut down the edge run defender. They're playing so well right now that
don't forget Matabuke's putting up.
I'm talking about the edge. I'm talking about the edge. I'm not talking about the inside. I'm talking about the edge.
Matabuke, yeah.
Well, with
Matabuke. You guys better learn that name. He's putting up Aaron Donald.
Sing it, brother. Sing it.
Matabuke.
I haven't even gotten to the inside yet, Ed. It's crazy how Odafe Owe, a first-round draft pick, he's the rotational guy right now.
Dude's starting to realize he's big, man. I don't think he knew he was big on film. He played.
Shit, I'm big.
Starting to spin and shit. Like we've been saying, why doesn't this motherfucker ever spin or anything? Now he's starting to spin and do shit. There you go.
He's got a pass rush repertoire now. And then on the inside, you have Michael Pierce having a career year. He's having a resurgence. He's a nose tackle that's eating 2 linemen almost every single play. It's on film. They're dedicating a guard and a center to him almost every single snap that he's on the field. Justin Madubuike, he's having a all-pro type of year. He's at 7 sacks already this year.
Okay.
Broderick Washington, he's kind of like the guy you forget about, but he's like the lunch pail defensive tackle, man. He plays the run well. He collapses the pocket. And then you got second-year man Travis Jones, who was highly touted coming out of college. He's our 3rd or 4th defensive tackle. Then you got Brent Urban, the veteran, the wily veteran guy. We have a good 5-man inside rotation. And if they smell weakness on that Cleveland Browns interior offensive line, that's going to spell trouble. And not to mention, Roquan and Patrick Queen are both excellent blitzers. Arthur Millette, our cornerback, he's an excellent blitzer. Kyle Hamilton can get after the quarterback. So there's a lot of different ways that McDonald can, combat a weaker offensive line. And that's going to be the key for you guys is what your offensive line starting 5 is going to be come Sunday at 1 o'clock, because if Jones isn't going to play and Wills isn't going to play, you're talking about your 3rd and 4th tackles going
actually
against
4th and 5th.
Yeah, 4th and 5th tackles.
That's
That's
gonna be
right,
the
Conklin.
game, man.
Yeah.
That's gonna be
Well,
my
you know
key
what
to the
I'm
game.
most concerned about? You know what it comes down to? Now, I know the college game is different than the NFL because, in the NFL, you have the signals through the headsets. But you know what? Your head coach's last name Harbaugh. And we all know about Jim at Michigan stealing signs. How do I know? How do I know when Kevin Stefanski tells Deshaun Watson what the play is? You guys don't use some technology where you guys are hearing what the play calls are. So, so I don't know. I would check it every time you play a Harbaugh. You got to make sure that there ain't a little bit.
Our coach isn't our coach isn't named Belichick, so we're good.
Oh, fair enough.
But talking about this Ravens defense and the Cleveland Browns offense, our secondary has performed at a high level. Josh and I were both worried about the secondary.
Not just me, you, the whole country was.
Yeah, all of Ravens Nation was worried about the secondary. Brandon Stevens is playing at an all-pro level, and the thing is, it doesn't reflect it on the stat sheet until you look at like Pro Football Focus and you see that his completion percentage against is in the teens, and he hasn't given up 100 yards.
He's the most targeted corner in the NFL,
and he hasn't given up 100 yards receiving in a game. Marlon Humphrey right now, he's giving up less than 2% completion the last month. So teams are throwing at him. He's been thrown at a total of 10 times since London. Teams don't throw it his direction in man coverage. Then you have Ronald Darby, who everybody thought was going to have a little bit of a difficult year. He bounced back from ACL surgery. He's having a good year. Rock Ya-Sin, who was a starter with the Oakland Raiders or the Las Vegas Raiders last season, he's our 4th cornerback, sometimes our 5th cornerback, because Arthur Millette.
You don't see the field at all.
Yeah, Rock Ya-Sin, he plays special teams sometimes. And then Arthur Millette has been making play after play. And that's just the cornerbacks. We got Hamilton at strong safety, and then you have
league leading
Geno Stone. Geno Stone's got 6 interceptions on the season. He's got 4 of the last 4 games.
Yes,
so he and then we got Marcus Williams coming back from a hamstring injury. I'm not counting on Marcus Williams for shit. So
Matt, you are preaching, man. You got me over here. I'm excited. I'm about to run through a fucking wall.
Go ahead.
Go.
But the biggest matchup is going to be obviously the trenches. Games are always won and lost in the trenches.
True.
But the biggest thing for the Ravens is how they cover Njoku, how they cover Amari Cooper.
I hate him.
So Njoku is a Raven killer. He always has been. He always will.
Dude, always has a good game against us. Like every effing time.
Yeah, I wish he would kind of do that more against other teams, but whatever.
Always against us. And if he doesn't have like a big game, he'll gash us at least one good 50-yard play, something stupid. Like that motherfucker.
So it's one of those situations where if we can contain 285, I think that we can have a better chance of just pinning our ears back and getting after you guys. the thing that you got to worry about though is
You're Kevin Stefanski right now, because I mean you're talking about this great Ravens defense, and I'm not saying it's not a great Ravens defense. From the numbers and what you guys are doing this year, definitely are one of the best defenses in the NFL, no doubt about that. So you're Kevin Stefanski. How would you know the Ravens better than anybody out there? How do you beat the Ravens if you're the Cleveland Browns this week? What would you do?
You got to gash them outside.
Yeah,
outside.
You got to run. You got to be able to run the ball.
If you can run the ball outside on the Ravens, you're going to have a lot of success.
And then it's going to open it up. You play action or you open it up. That's the only way. If you cannot run the ball, you're F. I'm not even being cocky. If I wasn't a Ravens fan, I'd say that. If you can't run the ball, you got no shot, honestly. That's how suffocating. I am no way comparing them to the 2000 Ravens defense, and I hate how ESPN and everywhere is because I know some of the numbers are similar, but I by no means I'm ever.
There's no Ray Lewis. There's no Ray Lewis.
No, there's not. But they are lights out there. They are playing extremely well. But that is when we've seen weakness from them and when we've had bad games is when somebody has a lot of rushing yards on us.
Okay.
And the only game this year where the Ravens gave up a lot of rushing yards and still won was Tennessee.
Indy. Oh, it was Tennessee. Okay. That's right.
Yeah.
Tennessee. That was the only game where somebody ran for over 100 on us and we still won. To answer your question a little bit more in depth, Ed. Sorry, go ahead, Keith.
Let me ask you, because you had a team a couple years ago that went 14-2. Would you consider this team to be better than the 14-2 team when Lamar's MVP year?
Yeah.
Okay.
And here's the reason I say that we're better is that we are more rounded as a complete team depth-wise, and there's no shock and awe. We're just kind of pedal to the floor, punch you in the mouth right from the get-go on both sides of the ball. A lot of people in 2019, everybody was caught by surprise because nobody knew what was going to happen with Lamar Jackson because it was his first full year as a starter, his first all-season prepping as the guy because the prior year he was a rookie. Flacco was still our quarterback. His ensemble is a lot better. His number one wide receiver was Seth Roberts. His number two wide receiver was Willie Snead. His number three wide receiver was a rookie, Hollywood Brown. And then he had Mark Andrews, who was still just reaching that upper echelon of top half of the tight ends. He wasn't even really considered to be what he is now, obviously.
True.
And this defense is a lot better than that 2019 defense. That 2019 defense had more attitude in terms of personalities. Marcus Peters was here. We took a lot of gambles on defense. We talked about that earlier. Wink Martindale threw the
right.
We blitzed a lot. Wink Martindale threw the kitchen sink at everybody. And this defense is a lot different. There's more.
We get pressure with four, which we've been getting pressure with four, which has been a huge shock.
That's the key. If you can do that, that's
That's what we've been doing, dude. Like these names, like you wouldn't think, like Clowney. Like Clowney is playing, like Matt said earlier, alluded to. He's playing lights out. It's unbelievable what he's doing. And I told you guys, I have a very good friend that's a Cleveland fan. He lives in Michigan, but he's from Cleveland. And he kept saying, don't get too excited on Clowney. He fades out. You'll see. But I haven't seen the man fade out yet. Every week he's showing up. If he didn't get a sack, he's getting pressure. I don't know. They're getting pressure for somehow.
Yeah, the first year when Clowney was here, he did awfully well. He was real good when he was here the first year. The second year, everything was just off.
I don't think he was as bad as what people said he was, though. I don't think he got the sacks or whatever, but he always does get the pressures. I'll give him that. When he's in the game, he is a difference maker. He does change the way that the offense. I mean, he's disruptive. He's very disruptive.
Yeah, and he's held great against the run.
And then when you look at your defensive coordinator at the time, which was Joe Woods.
Oh yeah,
I don't think
you said Keith. Joe Woods, man, you don't need to say much more, brother. You don't.
And I think Joe Woods literally lost the defense.
Yeah, he did.
After the Jets game.
Yep.
And then the dam just broke.
Yeah.
The biggest thing is that Clowney is doing this with no elite pass rusher bookending him. And, it's not, I'm not saying it's easy, but your job's got to be a little bit less stressful when 95 is on the other side of you, getting double and triple teamed, and you're getting singled up against a tackle or a tight end or a fullback. The biggest difference between the 19 team and the 23 team on offense, that was shock and awe with fireworks. And knowing that Lamar Jackson is probably going to throw for 200 yards, but he's going to run for 100 or 115, 120. This
And
one,
that's not what Lamar's doing right now.
this offense right here, you got to worry about which player he's going to focus on and feed. And now we got guys that when they catch the ball, they get separation and they can make yards after the catch. That's the biggest thing.
Before.
We got 4 guys on this team right now that are key for yards after the catch. It's Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, Isaiah Likely, and Odell Beckham Jr. Odell, every time Odell catches the ball, he tries to get extra yards. The guy is making an effort to get up the field every single time. And it's crazy because we got Nelson Aguilar, who's dangerous in the red zone.
How's Duvernay? What's he been up to?
Duvernay's just getting involved in the offense. He's been mainly our return guy all year.
Good guy,
The last couple weeks, he's been getting involved in the offense. Our offense
We're never
is so stacked.
happy with his involvement as Ravens fans. We always want more Duvernay. We never get it. Sometimes
we don't need it right now.
You're right. We don't. There's really no spot for him to fit in right now.
And the thing is, when it comes to running the ball, they're either running Gus, Justice, or Mitchell, and then they're giving end arounds to Zay or Bateman. So they're attacking teams a lot differently. We're eating more clock on the field, and we're wearing teams down. And the difference between 2019 and 2023 with the offense, the biggest thing is they consistently beat teams into the ground running the ball. We had a great rushing attack with Lamar and Mark Ingram that year. I'm not discrediting that portion, but you got like old school between the tackles, throw in the scat back, throw in Justice Hill, and we're scoring touchdowns with the air, and then we're leaning on you on the ground. And it just so happens now that we're scoring touchdowns on the ground because Edwards has been an absolute touchdown machine this year. So it's a big difference, and it's honestly a good question because a lot of people in Baltimore want to have parallels between this 19 and this 23 team, and there's no comparison other than record. There's no comparison right now.
Okay, I got another question. Due to this game coming up at hand, what's the overall pulse in Baltimore as far as do they consider this a rivalry game? Or they just consider it just another AFC North contest?
Everybody in the AFC North is a rivalry.
Hell yeah, we hate you. Now you personally, we hate your team. Hell no. We hate the Browns. And you guys always.
You got a question.
I guess that's like a crazy record, but you guys, I don't know how that is because you guys always seem to beat us. I feel like we always split with the Browns.
Do you guys hate Pittsburgh more than us, though?
Yeah. Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, though. I have grown to hate.
It's more the Bengals have kind of taken Pittsburgh's spot.
I was going there.
Okay.
Because they talk shit and all that.
Cincinnati is the most entitled group of fans and arrogant fans I've ever seen. They bragged about losing the fucking Super Bowl.
Like,
we just got there. I'd rather not make it at all than lose.
Yeah, nobody.
I don't know. As a Browns fan, I can't say that. I've never been.
But the thing is, they've been 3 times and they've lost all 3 times.
Right. I'm not. I would feel the same way if I lost. I just want to make it. Can I just make one?
And they brag about being this powerhouse team, but yet they can't finish when it matters. And the thing is, I can say that about us too. I can say that about Buffalo.
But at least
the thing though.
But at least y'all don't talk crap. Yeah, y'all don't.
We talk shit. We talk
it, but Cincinnati, it gets annoying. Like last year,
you guys got 2 Super Bowl rings. That's the difference.
Like when Cincinnati got to play Kansas City in the championship in the AFC, they up here calling it Burrowhead, all this annoying stuff.
I know. That's what I'm saying, man.
Then when Kansas City beat them, I was happy because it was like, shut y'all asses up.
Yeah, arrogant. They're so
your
arrogant.
Asses home.
Nah. I consider the Cleveland game a rivalry, but it's for a different reason. And I know we talked about this the last time we were all together on
Yes.
screen. I hold a disdain for Cleveland sports writers as opposed to the football.
Oh, because
team
of the
or
Art
city.
Modell thing. It's the Art Modell.
Yeah.
thing.
Because
That
they
Art
kept Art
name guy.
Modell out of the Hall of Fame, and it's
Well,
a
it's been long
fucking
enough.
travesty. Art Modell was a pioneer in getting football TV rights for the NFL, Monday Night Football.
Monday Night Football, man.
He actually
You know, he was-
responsible for all the players and owners getting paid now.
Hell yeah.
Exactly.
He should be
So-
in. It's
so
crazy,
that-
man.
that's my only gripe with the city
You
of
guys
Cleveland.
think
No.
he should be in? Or, I mean, you guys, if you guys say we get beheaded in Cleveland,
I said it on your show last time I was on. I said he should be in. I said he should be in.
You did.
He
I
should
remember
be
that.
in. He should be in.
in.
But the
Monday
only
Night
thing
Football.
is,
Monday Night Football.
they probably won't put him in Canton. That's the only
No, that's
thing. But he should
I mean-
be in though.
Hell
I mean,
yeah,
it's a travesty that if he ever gets him, it's a travesty.
You
that,
guys
that
got your team back, your colors. Like we lost Super Bowls. Like
your
the
history.
Colts
You got
won
your
2 or
history.
3 Super Bowls and like 3 AFL championships. All that went to Indy. We get no
Yeah.
credit for those Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
It's
Yeah.
sad. I wasn't old enough to see him, but like my grandfather.
I'll be honest with you guys. I'll be honest with you guys. Like I
Hard.
said, when I see old Baltimore Colts and I see Johnny Unitas and stuff like that, I mean, I know you guys are happy because you guys are younger and you got your Ravens and you're winning Super Bowls. But I'm sure there's an older generation in Baltimore that when they see those Colts uniforms, I mean, it kind of
It's
makes
our parents.
tear up. Yeah,
parents,
like that's
yeah.
gotta hurt.
It's
That's
our
gotta
parents.
hurt
It's our dads. Our dads were
Yeah.
so like it's like they spit venom when they get reminded of like the Mayflower incident. And
Yeah.
exactly.
Man.
Josh and I are too young to
Watch the old
experience that.
YouTube videos, guys. When you ever get bored or something, look up. It's
Oh
sad,
yeah, the
man.
Mayflower in the middle of the night. Oh yeah, the Ursay.
Oh, I seen that on
movement.
the news when I was a kid.
When you guys
Really?
see Jim Irsay, does it make you guys sick? You
Yes.
guys hate him?
Well,
I don't even like hearing his name.
He's a degenerate anyway. I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
About
he
it.
is. Yeah, he is.
Dude, it broke my grandfather's heart, man. He never even really committed to. I mean, he liked the Ravens and he supported them, but it was never to.
No, I like the 30 for 30 on ESPN about the old Baltimore Colts marching band and how they became the Ravens marching band.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool.
They never went to Indy. Yep.
Yeah,
never
that was
went to
cool.
Indy.
They stayed here, and they're
Yep.
still playing to this day.
And
That's
when we had a
awesome.
CFL team, the Mustangs, they used to play.
I remember that.
Yeah, they used to play at the Mustangs. We won a CFL championship in Baltimore.
Nice.
I sure did. Yeah.
State. We are the only state. We are the only state. That's why we have the OJ Brigance. He was a Cleveland Brown. We do the rings for OJ because he's one of the only people who I'm sorry. OJ Brigance is the only dude that has a CFL championship and a Super Bowl with the same city.
Oh, that's
Wow.
awesome.
And there'll never be another one because there's
right.
no other-
Yeah.
He's the only one ever because he won one with the Baltimore Mustangs and the Baltimore Ravens in 2000.
Because I remember like the first 3 years, well, the 3 years that the Browns was gone, they showed the Ravens games here.
Oh my
Regularly.
gosh! Oh, see, I
Regularly.
get why you guys hate it. I get it. I get why a lot of guys hate him. I get it.
Regularly.
Oh, dude, that's it. Like rubbing it in, man.
It's
like rubbing it
understandable. I get it is
Yeah.
understandable.
And the crazy as it is, during that time, you had a lot of fans that cascaded over. You had some that went with the Ravens, and you had a lot of them that cascaded over to Pittsburgh.
Oh my
during
gosh!
that time. Yeah,
Yeah,
because there wasn't no team here.
yeah. There was a lot of Pittsburgh fans in Baltimore when the Colts left. Or
Yep.
Redskins. I mean, sorry,
Mhm.
Commanders.
No,
Yeah.
it's okay. They were Redskins back then. You know, people that they're like I like when I say if it was the Indians, it was the Indians. The Guardians, the Guardians. If you talk about Joe Gibbs, you're talking about the Redskins. And if you're talking about, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't. I look at the year that they played. That was their name, and then I try to be as good because I have to deal with that with the Guardians and the Indians, and it's one of those things where don't want to upset people. But sorry, their names was the Indians. When the Indians went to the World Series in '95, they weren't the Guardians. When the Redskins won Super Bowls, they were the Redskins. The Commanders haven't done shit.
It's all selective. It's all selective outrage though, because Kansas City didn't change their name, Atlanta didn't change their name, the Chicago hockey team didn't change their name. So
why don't people go after Taylor Swift? You know, all the Swifties that are whatever this, they don't ever go after her, but she's rooting for people that are doing the tomahawk chop and all that, but she gets no flack or whatever like that. You know, a lot of these
she can do no wrong, man. She's a second coming.
Right.
She's a second coming, bro.
So this is our final segment of the show, guys. We always like to do score predictions and player of the game. Since you guys are our guests, Keith, I will let you lead off with this segment. What is your score prediction, and who is your pick to click for the Ravens and Browns game?
Okay. I'm just going to shock the world. I'm going to go with the Browns 27 and the Ravens 24. And the player of the game going to be Deshaun Watson.
Okay.
And then putting to bed all the criticism that he gets in Cleveland and through the national media. And the national media going to climb aboard Cleveland's dick again.
Wait now.
Oh my God!
What's your prediction,
man? He said dick.
But you've dropped the F-bomb about 18 times on the show, Josh.
The reason why
outraged about the word dick.
He can say that word. Come on every week. He can say that word because Chubb's hurt for the year, so we can't say Chubb anymore. Here's the reason why. I think Keith's onto something here. And usually in this kind of this rivalry game, you know, we didn't expect to lose earlier this year, and you guys aren't expecting to lose at M&T Bank Stadium this Sunday in Baltimore. I think there will be a close score, like he said. The player of the game will not be Deshaun Watson, but it will be Dustin Hopkins, the Browns field goal kicker, as he kicks the game-winning field goal. Cleveland Browns 24, Baltimore Ravens 23.
I hate that.
Okay.
All right, Josh. Shock the world, buddy. I'm not going to do it, Josh. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, hush.
Give me the prediction, buddy.
I'm going to go player of the game. I'm going to go with Mark Andrews. I think he's going to have
he's on my fantasy team. It's okay if he is. It's okay.
I think he's going to have like 86 yards receiving and maybe 2 touchdowns, something like that. I'm going to go Ravens. Ravens 40, Browns 6, and Ravens get like 4 more sacks to stay at that number 2 in sacks in the NFL. Maybe even climb up to number 1 in sacks. And Watson has a horrible game, and the bank is rocking and loud, and Cleveland just wants to get the fuck out of Baltimore and back to Cleveland quick as possible, which is only like a half-hour flight. Get their dog asses out of here and let's fucking win and go.
He's telling me I should rake my leaves on Sunday between 1 and 4.
Oh man,
it's going to be a shit show, man. It's going to be bad for you.
So,
I'm sorry, but I do like you guys very much.
Thank you.
I stopped giving him shit about his score predictions because he almost guessed the Detroit Lions score. He missed by 1 point on the total that he predicted. So. I've left him alone since then.
Mad about the score.
They texted me. They were so pissed.
Man. He was offended
because those Lions guys were offended, man. But my player of the game is going to be Odell Beckham Jr. I believe he catches. I think he goes 6 catches, 75 yards, and a touchdown. I believe his touchdown is going to be the first touchdown of the game in the air for the Baltimore Ravens. And I have us winning 42-17. I think this is going to be a high-powered offense. I think we're going to get in the 40s this week, guys. That's my confidence level. Now, we've been over 35 the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, but I've never seen Matt do this ever.
42-17. I think we stifle Watson, and I think it's going to be purely because of your offensive line, not because of Watson himself. I believe that we take advantage of a weakened Cleveland Browns offensive line. That is just is about as straightforward I can be about it.
Wow, I'm shocked.
We got 5 or 6 guys that can get after the quarterback, and it just seems like a recipe. The bank's going to be rocking on Sunday. Our fans are starting to show up in full force again. And it's loud in there. You can even tell through the television. 42-17 Baltimore Ravens. Ed and Keith, I want to thank y'all so much. We love having you guys on this show.
Thank
You
you.
guys are my
Thank you.
favorite guests, man.
Thanks
Yeah.
for inviting us.
We
Thanks for
play the
having
Browns
us.
every week.
But I will predict this. Tillman will catch his first touchdown pass against Baltimore.
Ooh. I hope not, buddy.
Oh,
Because I got a feeling they're going to double team Amari Cooper. So,
okay.
You-
Before
Maybe.
we cut you guys loose and we wrap this show up, guys, let everybody know that's listening and watching where they can find some excellent Cleveland sports coverages.
Well,
Ed,
check
you
out the
wanna
We
go?
Like Sports show with Keith and I Mondays at 5:30. So we got a special guest, a Raiders guy, on coming this week. So we'll be talking about McDaniels and the upheaval that's going on in Raider Nation. So yeah, check us out 5:30. We Like Sports show. Keith, hit it.
you can check out Locked On Sports 216 Browns pregame at high noon on Sunday. Me and Ed will go over what the do's and don'ts for the Browns on Sunday against the Ravens.
Don't give up 42 points.
There you have it. There you have it, folks. Josh, go ahead and wrap this show up, man.
All right, guys. Look, hey, I like these dudes, man. These dudes are good guys, good Browns fans. So I ain't gonna say he's nothing ignorant. Usually is when I like to make people mad when we hang up.
That's okay.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do it. But look, man, I hope you guys lose this game, obviously. But then I hope you guys win a few. You know, if you get in a
We
play, as
got
long as you
Pittsburgh
don't
the next week. We got Pittsburgh the next week. So
Pittsburgh, I'll be a Browns fan a little bit for that. How about that? And I hope you guys are healthy at the end. I hope we're healthy at the end. And
Oh,
then we
yeah.
got to worry about the stupid ass Bengals and deal with their asses for the week. And Matt's going to bring this guy that comes on that. He has a beautiful radio voice, much like you, gentlemen. On the I can't see you, bro. I can't see your name under me. Matt, what's his name?
That's Keith.
Alan.
Yep. K. Allen.
Alan, my bad. Alan. Yeah.
Keith.
So
I've been saying his name all show.
Yeah, Keith Allen.
man, I'm bad with names, man. Sorry, Keith. Sorry, Keith.
You good.
But just shut it down, man. I'm tired. We gotta work, bro.
You know,
No, we don't.
and you know what's
no, we
crazy?
don't. I am off.
Besides, when the Ravens play us, I'm Lamar's biggest fan. Ed,
he is. Keith is a Lamar homer. He loves Lamar Jackson.
Oh, nice.
but I ain't gonna love him this weekend.
Hell no. You can't.
All right, fellas, if y'all want to stick around a couple of minutes, we're going to, wrap up post show.
All right.
Good night, Ray.